In today. There's 5 of us presenting, and we're looking at a range of different topics, so I hope you enjoy. We've put in time for questions, so if you could just bear with us. We've got some at the end of each topic and at the end, so you should have plenty of time to ask away. We'll start with our first topic, or our introductions. There you go. There's the video as well.
Cool. Do you want to come up?
The Maid in Heston West.
Okay, never mind.
The Maid in Heston.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Come on.
He looks like a...
Should we play it?
Yeah, play it first.
Yeah, you can play it first.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Look like babies.
You do look like babies.
The Maid in Heston West, bringing it all together.
You were taller than him.
Is in memory of our dear friend and support, Maria Pedro.
She was an inspiration and a much-loved member of our community.
We thank her for all she's done, helping and supporting members of our community.
She'll be dearly missed.
My name is Maria Pedro, Representative Deputy Lieutenant for the London Borough of Hounslow, and we're bringing it all together for the Heston West Big Local.
£1 million has been kindly invested by Big Local Trust to help our community grow and flourish in the next 10 years and beyond. The Big Local was given the green light by Local Trust in 2012 and officially started in 2015. Heston West Big Local is a partnership of local residents and local stakeholders. Members of the board have volunteered to steer the funding allocated to Heston West, and we are currently supported by Berkeley Academy. Our main objective of the Big Local is to help transform the look and feel of our community with health and well-being as our focus. In the past few years, we've been involved in encouraging families, older residents and young people to get involved with an outcome of creating an effective support network, a culture of volunteering whilst reducing isolation. We are creating opportunities for local people to live happier lives, bringing it all together.
The Maid in Heston West, bringing.
Okay, so hi, my name's Laiba Nissa, and this is...
Hi, my name is Sharanjit Kaur.
And we are the youth representatives of Heston West Big Local, and we have been now for 5 years, and we're also on the committee of Heston West Big Local.
And we are here to talk about diversity.
Okay. Thank you, Heston West. So, I'm from Marshall Mickfield, Big Local. My name's Lucci. I'm a Mickfield resident and also a graphic designer. So, where is Marshall Mickfield? Marshall Mickfield is in just Buckinghamshire, just there, good map. Southeast. What's happening? So we're not a huge area, but we cover 2 different communities with diverse personalities and characteristics. But we've got 5 schools, 2 community cafes, and over 13 shops. So we're quite big in sense of that. We've done a range of projects from movie nights, which have been a great success, and we even did it during COVID. It was quite tough, but we managed to, with loads of differentiations between how we seated people and food and all of that. We've done Foodie Fridays, First Saturday breakfasts, just everything to a range of things, a range of topics to involve everyone of all ages and to get people together. So how I started with youth was through the YOLO survey. And that was a survey we did to see what young people wanted in the community so that we didn't just put things on and expect people to show up. And from that stretched into Boomfest Festival, which was just actioning what everyone had said in the survey. And that stretched into Boom Futures group, which was the group of young people looking to better their community and organise events. That's a little logo. So I was part of that for 2 years, and we did a lot around Christmas and Halloween and worked a lot with charities, just local charities in High Wycombe. And a bit about myself. So I started working for M&M. I was part of Boom Futures for 2 years. And then at the same time, I was working for the local library, Mickfield Library. So I was doing their posters, completely voluntary, definitely wasn't paid for it. But I started doing that and sort of got in contact with Big Local. I didn't really know who they were. I didn't associate Boom Futures with Big Local, as I think many people don't. And someone literally just said, oh, do you want to come along and have an interview or talk to us and see if we can find you a position to volunteer with us? So I started going and just doing some voluntary work, putting some things together. I had no skills, didn't know I wanted to be a graphic designer, but I knew I liked to make posters and leaflets and stuff like that. So I got sent to a graphic design studio in Sheffield with Big Local, and it opened my eyes completely, to the point where I was doing accounting and finance because that's what everyone was telling me to do. And that completely changed. And then I went to the studio, was amazed, and I started working for M&M because they valued my opinion. So that's me doing my first Mayfly, which was our community newspaper. And I worked quite closely with the studio and then started doing it all by myself. So the changes from 2019. In 2019, when we were here last, we were still trying to build an identity with this graphic design studio. We were working on a new website, just had started the Mayfly, and we had declared a climate emergency, which I'll be talking about later. And now, what has changed? We've got a new partnership. We've got a well-established Mayfly that people look forward to, and we're still working towards our climate goals. And we finally just finished our 5-year consultation, which has gone really well, and we've got loads of data from that. Personally, I was first year of art and design, like college course, and now I'm second year university studying graphic design. So that's a step up. And this is our new partnership. That's all from me.
Hello there, so I am Lewis and this is...
Hi, I'm Chloe.
So we are from the GM2LF Big Local area, so we're quite a widespread area consisting of 3 smaller separate areas. So me, myself, I'm from one of the ends from the Wallace area. And
I'm from the Grace Mary area.
So within our Big Local, we sort of work with our youth partnership, which is called Big Local Little Voices. Currently, we've lost a few members due to COVID, but we still have 7 members who work together. One of our sort of main goals, and which we'll talk about later on, is community cohesion and sort of making our widespread areas work together and work with each other when it comes to events we run, when it comes to our different kind of litter picking, or maybe it might be our AGM that we're running to show people what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. For the introduction-wise, that's all I've got for now, but thank you for this, and I'll pass on to... We can play that later. You want to play it now? Oh. Change your mind, we're going to play the video if we can find it. Is it on here? I don't know where it is on this. Ah, this is our video. Thank you for that, everyone.
So just bear with me because I want to make sure I get this right. So, it's me again. So what I'm here to talk about, my topic is climate. And I know it's a huge thing at the minute, but this is our approach to it. So we realise that the climate change is irreversible and deadly, and we know it's a growing danger. So M&M decided to do something about it and do it as a collective. So our community were already appreciating the green spaces around us. We're surrounded by woods. So, sorry. And we wanted to make sure that people saw the connection between the world climate change and our local woods, because it's quite hard to really understand that link. Our end goal is to protect the ecosystem, but we needed attainable ambitions. So that was reducing CO2 emissions, increasing biodiversity, and building resilience within the community. Over the past few years, M&M have set up and supported a variety of events, from roadside planters to wildflower planting. We've done fruit trees for our mini orchard and planted over 40 native trees for our mini copse. But having the support of our local conservation group has really helped us get valuable information and make quick, simple steps in the right direction. Although we've done things for years around climate, during our 5-year plan survey, we checked that that's what people really wanted, because you can't force people to change their habits unless they feel like they need to or they want to. So we saw that the residents agreed and gave us encouragement that what we were doing and putting into place was towards a legacy. So these short-term goals were turning into long-term solutions. From that, we took some very important actions. We need people to think deeper, whether that is sourcing local food for the community kitchen or getting efficient fridges. So all those small details that are often overlooked when you're trying to put a project together. You want to lead by example internally and consciously think about being environmentally friendly and sustainable. We have a ranger who's changed from conservation to biodiversity, so he focuses more on that and makes sure that the actions we do really are representative of what we're trying to achieve. So what does that look like? These are 3 things I believe all big locals can do to make a positive change, and quite quickly. They are obvious, but I think make the biggest difference. So these small considerations shouldn't alter the way what you achieve, but just the way you work. You want to create appropriate area-appropriate solutions. So that for us was wildflower seeds. We had a lot of open spaces that could benefit from that, and we made sure that the wildflowers we were introducing into the habitat were positive to the environment we were in. We've done things around all ages, so from schools to people in youth, just going down almost like picking all the categories and making sure everyone's approached, because everyone can make a difference. No one's too young or too old, are they, in climate? And lastly, it's supporting things that are already going on. You don't need to set up a litter picking if someone's already doing it. We've got a Wickham Marsh Community Environmental Group. There was no point us competing against them. You want to connect with them and make sure that they're on board with your project before you start setting up things that will take away from them or vice versa. And things to consider. So we all know that change doesn't happen overnight, especially with climate. But the aim is to inform and teach along the way on all platforms. So we use the Mayfly newspaper, the website, and social media, and we provide area-specific information, but in various details for all demographics. So as you can see, we've got quite approachable social media. We've got really small snippets of things that are within our community, like the ash trees, the beech trees, the butterflies, chalk grass, and almost like keywords, but that people can recognise within the community. Within our plan, we sort of went into detail with how much money we were going to spend so that people knew exactly what was going on. And in the Mayfly, we look for other saving money, staying warm, sort of just approaches that are attainable and don't feel like they're intruding into someone's life that much. So within the topic, I would appreciate if you could discuss on your tables what's something you could start doing from the time you get home from Connect on a personal level, and then what's something your big local could start doing. So that could be, if you're printing leaflets, you print on recycled paper. It costs a little bit more, but it's better for the environment. Or are there any important forms that you've got that people need to print out? Could you make them interactive? And could you send things through email rather than printing out massive forms? So if you could just have a think. We've got, how many minutes? Around 5 minutes. You could just discuss between your tables. That'd be great. Okay, everyone. If we can round up conversation. Okay. So, I'm glad you've all discussed climate and your actions towards it. Do we have any questions? Yes.
Where can I get hold of a copy of your YOLO? Where can I get a hold of a copy of your YOLO survey?
I can probably access that and send it to you if I grab your email at the end.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other questions? Do you have a question? No? Okay. Yes? Okay. I'm running.
How do you actually, engage the younger people, in your big local area? Because at the moment I'm trying to engage, the younger youth, the younger people, but they're not actually wanting to engage with us, and we're really struggling. How, what tips and tricks would you advise, to get the younger people involved?
So I don't have a clear answer because I feel like we're all sort of struggling with that. Our group has been quite static recently because of COVID, I think, mainly because everyone I know wants to be out, not on Zoom, and that's not really what people are looking forward to. I'd say, as you said, food is great. We did Foodie Fridays, which were full of young people trying to make different dishes. That was really useful. But I think at the end of the day, you want to make sure that they know there's a place to go, because we all get into a funk and we all want to find sort of our place to settle. So if you're being there every week, even if the first week you don't get anyone, second week you don't get anyone, and it keeps going like that for a while, as soon as one person comes, they have friends, they'll bring their friends because they don't want to hang out by themselves. And slowly you'll build up more and more young people. But as soon as you stop or you have people cancelling, stuff like that, you start losing that traction again because they'll find something else to do.
Always follow through what you're going to do with a young person, because if you don't, and they'll just turn their back on you and walk away.
Exactly. Any other questions? Riaz, you're in Marsh Makefield.
Sorry. I'm with Luci, but just to answer the question, because what you ask, how do you get the young people involved? And it is a very, very tough question, which I'm sure everybody appreciates. But one of the things we found with Luci, as you can see, she's not old. I mean, she's very young and even younger when she started. And that was the key to us, getting the young people, somebody, somewhere, get them started, then they actually get others involved. It's easier said than done, but that's, I think, that's been our key. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
This is on, yeah. I had a similar question, how to engage young people, and I talked to this lovely young person here who suggested a podcast, which I thought was a good idea, which we older people don't really think about so much. Also possibly a magazine, and then I thought of actually going into schools would be a good idea.
Things that you can do, I think, is finding your audience and potentially doing a survey of the people around you. I know we've got more questions. Can we stick to them at the end? Because I'm getting told off. Okay, I think it's you guys next. Can we click through?
There we are. Hello again. So it's I'm just in case you forgot, I'm Luke and this is Chloe. Got my nice little clicker here. There we are. So as we mentioned before, we are from GM2LF, and when we first started our Big Local Little Voices, one of the things we talked about is the issues that our area are being affected by, the young people in our area being affected by, and one of the ones we came to a conclusion of is mental health. So just as a quick little icebreaker, just on your tables, I just want you to try and discuss what are some causes of mental health. We'll have about 3 minutes to discuss this, and we'll sort of evaluate the answers we get from this sort of discussion. All right then. Oh, that was a bit loud. Sorry about that. So then, if we just wrap it up a bit, what we'll do is we'll just go to each table, and if just one of you want to talk about the ideas you came up with for what causes mental health, just really quick, just in case some of these haven't come on. These are some of the points we had.
So some of the points that we came up with is relationships, trauma, there's also stress and alcohol and drugs, also social isolation and social disadvantage.
Yeah, but like just everything everyone's mentioned, like mental health, it's a big thing, not only just in teenagers, in adults, and it's affected by everything. And it's something that everyone wants to work at, everyone needs to work at it, but it's finding that right way to go forwards with that.
And as we're talking about mental health, before I joined Big Local Little Voices, I suffered really bad with like anxiety and social anxiety. I'd always be shy, and you would never see me talking in front of this many people in a room. However, when I joined Big Local Little Voices, it helped me to overcome this. I have made friends from different areas that are from around by me. I'm more confident within myself, and like now I'm using my voice for what I believe in. And Big Local Little Voices hasn't just helped me, it's helped everyone else that attends there as well.
So just finally, you mentioned over there about how your Big Local's helping to deal with mental health, and this is something our Big Local's trying. So as I mentioned earlier, we have quite a widespread Big Local areas, and they're quite far apart. So one of our ideas is, as you can see, don't have a laser on this one, just here. This is our mascot called Gracie the Lion, and the plan, it would be a tall statue in which would have a notice board on, and that notice board will display everything that's happening around the areas, so that any events, any time you might be doing a Christmas fair, a summer fair. And then during that, we were thinking about how a lot of the time, young people in itself, as much as that we help you know when something's happening, a lot of young people don't have a place in which they can go and sit with to meet new young people. So we came up with the idea of what we call our loneliness bench, and that will be near these statues, and to help with sort of environmentally, we're planning to do sort of garden areas around there, so we're going to plant different flowers and just make that look a lot of a nicer place and more welcoming and open to young people so they can connect and communicate. So I believe we have a few minutes now. We just want to get any questions you may have. Do you want to go from the mic?
Yeah, so if we start with the mic, please take one of these tables.
Back. Hang on. First of all, I'd just like to say how fantastic it is to see you guys all in this room today. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and you're an amazing inspiration to everybody. It's brilliant to see. You've got so much confidence and you've presented yourself so well. You should be really proud. I would like to ask you actually, personally, you mentioned at the beginning that you had your own sort of non-for-profit business on the side. Would you be able to tell us more about that, please?
Yes, so one of the things we started, it started originally, because as you can see, both me and Chloe, we're wearing these printed tops. So these were started just as a way to identify ourselves within our community. And then we sort of looked at it and realised the amount of money we paid to make these was quite a lot. So we then got a printing machine and we went into doing our own printed tops, printing clothing. We then moved on to making printed slates and different mugs. coasters. And that was just sort of an idea, one, to give our young people that experience of working. They have that sense that this was made by me, this is my work, that other people are buying. And a lot of that money is sometimes put into different events, and it's also put in allowing all the young people in our, so we have a youth group as well as Big Local Little Voices, taking those on trips. So one of the trips we did from our profiting was a canal trip, which took a lot of these young people on something that a lot of them have never done before, and it gave them loads of different friends to make, loads of experiences.
You guys are amazing. Should be really proud.
Just really quickly.
Brilliant.
And just to push their business, they're on Facebook, so if you want to order for them for Christmas, we will do postage as well. It's Big Local Little Voices Printing and Merchandise. Get your orders in now.
A little bit of self-promoting there. Okay, and we have a question down here. Yeah. You sure? There we are. Oh. Do you want to run that one too?
Thank you so much. And first, just to say thank you guys so much. It's really good to hear you guys speak, and I think that was just a really good presentation. It's just nice to see what young people are doing. My question is, I like to call them sort of the forgotten generation, which is kind of like your millennials, your ages between sort of 25 to 40-year-olds who are not quite sort of young, but still the youth. How do we engage sort of that segment of the population? Usually working professionals, usually go to work, they have a job, they come home, they have money, they earn money from the job, but they don't spend that money in their local communities. They don't invest in their local communities. How do we tap in to that population of people who, like, a lot of the stuff that we do in our big locals are catered to youth, getting youth off the street. But these youth who have jobs and go to work, how do we tap into those people? How do we get them involved? How do we get them to sort of share their money, invest their money, spend their time, give back and contribute to their local areas? It's something that I've, as somebody who falls into that demographic, how do you make them care? I think that's the question I'm trying to ask, is like, are you just kind of going about your life? Why do you as an individual want to give back? And I think it's different for me, but I think it's different for other people. I just want to get a sense. Is anybody sort of grappling with that demographic? Do you have that demographic involved? And do you have any sort of tips and tricks to, sorry, I don't know really if I've spoken to the mic there, but
And say, like, that's a great question. Like, for me and Chloe answering that, that's quite difficult for us. We're still quite youth. Anyone who wants to answer that, like, I'm very intrigued in that sort of idea about this forgotten generation. When you think about it, it's applied quite a lot for a lot of our events. They are aimed at either youth or elderly, and you've got that middle demographic that, yeah, they do attend, but it's quite intriguing on how you will introduce that and get them more involved. Yeah, there you are.
I'm just going to... Okay. Can I say something? I'll be like 1 minute. What I'd say is, I'm 21, so I had a similar experience where I wasn't going to my local cafe. I would say that my personal reason was that they weren't offering what I could get elsewhere. So like music nights and gigs and different comedy sessions and stuff like that. I was going further out. So maybe potentially trying to bring some of that back into the community where you don't have to spend a fortune but can go a couple doors down.
But also, you know, like with Heston West Big Local, we do like things that, because we've obviously done surveys, we've walked onto the street and like approached people, and there's this something that we do, it's called Creative Mums. And it's basically a club for mums, like new mums, like old mums, whatever, to just come around and just talk, kind of like a support group. And like they do their own activities. And if they have like young children, like then they can bring them along as well. And then there's also a like art teacher who comes as well, and she does her thing with the little children, while the mums just get to talk and catch up and socialize with each other. And them knowing that that facility has been given to them for free and like been able to, because they really appreciate it because it's helping them mentally. So then they give back by volunteering, like doing cleanup days and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you to all of you. It's been an amazing forum, and a lot of great questions really, and I think it's been all round good for both me and Chloe as well, everyone here. So we're going to pass on to Heslington West here to present their presentation now.
Okay, so I've said our names already. So I'm going to be talking a bit more about diversity with Heston West Big Local, and then Sharon is going to be speaking about, I wasn't speaking into the mic. She's going to be speaking about intergenerational and that, what we do with that. So me and Sharon, we both joined, and personally, I was a child with many mental health issues, and I was not someone who was ready to accept my disability. And Sharon was someone completely new to the country. She came from Italy, she barely knew English, and she came to my school, and we both kind of found out from Heston West together, and she brought me along. And it just made us feel so welcomed, and just made sure that our voice matters and that we were capable of being part of the decision making if we obviously showed that we are like responsible enough and we're able to do that. And our area, Heston West Big Local, like there is a stigma that because our area is a very diverse area, people tend to believe that it's really easy for us to like have such a diverse thing, but it really was not. Like over the years, like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter of your skin color, of your background, of your disability, of your personal needs. It only matters about how you attract people to your organization and how you portray and prove that your organization will benefit people mentally and physically. And over the years, we've done stuff like I was saying before. We've done surveys, we've done interviews, we've walked onto the high streets and just like around speaking to people and asking people. And we definitely did learn that word of mouth was one of the best ways of recruitment with young people and adults. And because whenever we would go to recruiting or interviewing or anything, we would always have different age groups of people. So there's Tariq over there, who's part of Heston West, Taz, our project manager, over there in the back, and then us two as well, who are 17. And so that people, whoever we approached, they knew that it wasn't just a whole like bunch of adults or a whole bunch of little children. My password. And the reason why diversity is something really important to us is because in order to bring our community together, which is our slogan, bringing it all together, we need to know what our community wants and what they would like to see. And then that's why some of the things we've done, for example, a Somali Independence Day, we did a Diwali event, an Eid, Christmas, and we do art classes for people with disabilities. We do a thing called a one-stop shop, and it's basically in our local community centre where anyone can just drop in and be like, oh, I need help to write my CV, or I need help with a personal statement, and like housing issues, like whatever they need, and we can provide our best service to help them with that, which is, I definitely would recommend that as well. And then running those activities and those events then brought people into volunteering, because like I said, when you give something to people, they have that feeling that because you gave this to us for free, and obviously you're going to get people who just want to take all the free stuff and then disappear. That's natural, that's human nature, unfortunately. I wish that could change, but it can't. But then you will find people like me, Sharon and Tariq, who are really dedicated, and as long as you have those kind of people, it doesn't matter about the number of people you are interacting, as long as you're making a difference in these people's lives. And we also did things during COVID as well, like food banks, and we were able to provide food for the people from the elderly or anyone who was vulnerable, who wasn't able to go out and buy food from themselves. And we did cleanup days as well. Obviously, cleanup days I think is quite a common one as well to do. And it is like quite surprisingly fun to do once you start doing it. And honestly, I could go on for hours about everything that we've done. Like we've even gone to Vienna and partnered with a community group. Like we've done quite a lot of things. And if it wasn't for Heston West's us being on the board and having our voices heard and making the decisions, I don't think Heston West would have been where it was today. So that's a big thanks to Heston West. And I don't think I would be where it was today. So that's what I had to say about diversity. Thank you.
So hi, I'm here to talk about intergenerational clubs that we have. So as I said, I was from a different country. And when I came to Heston, I really missed the sense of community that I found in Italy. So we decided that why not, we should do intergenerational clubs. So we started with having a public speaking club, but that was a very good success for us. But then, through our experience, we realized that if we want to have young people on board, we had to have a good relationship with their families, with their parents. We started having family boxing clubs, family boot camps, and once all the family comes together and they volunteer with us, the kids see that and the parents can automatically see that it's a...
Yeah, because you know with parents, there's some households who are quite strict with where their children go and where they are not allowed. So when you introduce activities with family involvement, then they can see and they can trust with your children coming to these events and stuff like that.
Another thing that we had a play, a 90-minute play, where we had a cast of fully intergenerational people. We had all the way from 9 to I think it was 70-something. Yeah. And we explored the idea of cyberbullying and knife crime and Brexit, and we actually invited everyone in that community to come and see that. But it was a youth-led program. And I feel like when you have young people leading things, it encourages other young people to come on board. And as I remember someone was mentioning in the audience, we do have people on board that are in their 20s and their 24s, and they're in university. But because they have worked with us and they know that they're safe with us and things that we have provided, they always want to give back to the community. And a lot of the things that we hold are giving skills to people. So anyone can come up. So me and Labour, we are youth representatives on the actual committee board. And therefore, young people can come to us and say, we want to see this and this and this. And it'd be our job to take it to the community, to the committee board, and make sure that happens. It's also the fact we need people to trust in us. It's not like putting everything out there, we have this going on, and they don't turn up. I think 60% of our volunteers are there through the word of mouth. Rather than leaflets, because you can't put everything on paper. You might be really bubbly in person and you might have amazing things going on, but you can't always put that in paper. Also, and unfortunately, because of young people having a short attention span, having long leaflets doesn't work. They don't sit there and read it. So I feel like you shouldn't really waste your money on that. But I do have some questions for the audience. And those are you holding any intergenerational clubs at the moment? And if you are you leaving behind a legacy to actually have intergenerational clubs in the future? Because one thing that I realized was people thought it wasn't cool to work with their grandparents, or it wasn't cool to work with people who are not your age. And I feel like we really need to change that. In London, we are trying to change that in Heston West, but I think even outside, we should do something like that. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say that the video at the beginning that you saw, that was only a little clip, but all of that was done by our own volunteers. We were trained by someone who comes from a company called Made, and he would come every Sunday and we did sessions and we learned about photography, editing, filmmaking, interviewing, all of this. So all the videos you see were done by us. I actually directed and wrote the script for a knife crime video that's gotten over 20,000 views on our Heston West page. And, you know, like Sharon was talking about the play that happened, she's the one who wrote the script to that as well. So all it takes is just a good group of people and dedication, and you could do it. But yeah. Yeah, questions, anyone? Yeah?
How important is social media to your big local? And you mentioned about leaflets not being that effective. Would you say Instagram or Facebook is the best media?
So we did word of mouth a lot. So we walked down, whether it was we also went to secondary schools in our area or primary schools, and we promote ourselves there as well to get them involved. And also, like on the street, we would obviously would be wearing our shirts that Tarek is perfectly modelling, and we would approach people and tell them this is who we are, and try getting them involved, because word of mouth does have a big impact. But we do obviously have Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, but we really do like to focus on the word of mouth more.
I think our YouTube channel was the main success, because we have so many videos on our YouTube channels, and through that people got involved. Social media did play a part in it, but I believe it was mostly word of mouth. Whenever we have volunteers, we have a group chat on WhatsApp and we'll put the words out there. We'll also use Snapchat, we will also use Facebook, just in case someone who doesn't know us can come up.
All of our, so like most of our activities and like volunteers, we have like group chats. So once you've joined, obviously, and sign all the forms and stuff, we do have chats, and then they send, whenever something's happening, we send it through on the group chat, and then they send it to their friends and their like that. And I think Taz, our project manager, wants to say something.
Yeah, so I'm Taz from Heston West Big Local. So thank you so much, guys. Done a great job so far. So yeah, I think that your question's really about how do you engage young people using social media. What I think the key thing really was going back to sort of day one, was not seeing young people as alien or different. So it's making them part of the community, and working with families was the most important thing. So going into schools and going to those sort of conferences where you have head teachers in the boroughs all together and you're able to get to those meetings, that's number one. Going with your council, going into those meetings, meeting the right contacts within the schools, because obviously calling schools it can be a nightmare getting through the door. But if you get the right contacts, then you're in. And then I would deliver with some young people presentations in schools and assembly times. But then once you sign people up, like mums and dads and families, then what we do is we have dedicated WhatsApp groups or places where we can put it all together, all the people together, and that becomes much far easier than sort of spreading, making people aware of what activities we are doing in the community. But I think essentially it's trying to be smart about how, because I think we wasted, I'm going to say the word wasted, a lot of money on leaflets and all those wonderful night, and they are beautiful things, but I mean sort of physical ones, because if we created them all online and then use sort of way to promote them through WhatsApp, etc., but the power of having banners and the power of having few posters strategically placed in your community, like your fantastic notice boards, for example, those places are the best way to put the advertising out. I think if you put stuff in people's mailboxes, unfortunately it was seen as junk mail, people won't look at it or think it's another pizza letter. So the key thing really is being smart with the advertising and going into the councils, working with schools from day one and working with families. Once you work with families, you're naturally going to have that fantastic a space for you to work with children and young people and teenagers without always targeting them as separate. You make the young people and all people, everybody feel all together, and that's how it's taken us about 6 years to build up a thriving community of young people, and all people and everybody. It's taken 6 years. So that's very important to be aware of that. It didn't take 6 days, and there's a lot of trial and errors, but you have to see what works in your community. But I hope that answers some of the questions.
We even tried door knocking, and we spent probably hours and hours door knocking on different estates, and we probably got like 4 or 5 responses. Yeah, but word of mouth, not leaflets.
Do people find that social media is a more effective tool at sort of dealing with national level issues? All of us are sort of big local campaigns, and we're sort of catered to our local community. And I sort of wholeheartedly agree with you, sort of word of mouth for us has been more effective in sort of getting people to turn out. And social media hasn't been that effective, but where I have seen social media be effective, I've traveled across the States and I did some sort of BLM work out there, and social media was a fantastic tool for getting people involved. But that's sort of a real national issue, and people can get behind it that way. But when we're dealing with local communities, I think people prefer to be talked to. And I think that's definitely what we've found in terms of it's a more powerful tool to engage people than sort of social media in general. Like you said, pizza letters in your junk. So I don't know. It's a question of how do we utilize social media at a local level. I don't think we've cracked the nut of that as yet, but I'll be really interested if anybody has some really sort of innovative ideas about that. It'd be really good to sort of tap in and sort of hear what people are thinking about that.
I get what you're saying about how basically things that are trending or are really brought in a lot of light to, those kind of things get a lot of published, what's the word, Yeah, publicity, that's the word. Yeah, those type of things get a lot of publicity. And as a community organisation, we that's why we did like surveys and interviews and stuff. So we got the communities thing, because we don't really get people from South London coming to West London to do football or boxing or whatever. So that's why doing interviews and surveys and stuff, that really helped with our community.
Yeah, if I can kind of say as well something regarding this, what you've been saying, that the community kind of like it by mouth. We can create also kind of like pages and have a really very lovely interaction with the young people, and it really works. It really works. You kind of interact with them, chatting with them, and they are part of the group on the page, and it really works amazing as well as in terms of social media. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to now wrap up our part, but if you want to talk to us, we're going to be around, obviously, so you could definitely approach us. Even though we're being the black ones, we just like the colour, so you could definitely approach us and we'll 100% talk to you. But thank you so much for your time. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah.
Shall I do talk? Okay, so we've been given 5 more minutes. If you want to talk about anything that we've discussed, any topic, any questions, anyone want to say anything? If not, we can wrap it up. Yes. Guys. Because it's any topic, any question. Come on.
Hi, yeah, sorry. Just to say again, well done to all of you. It's absolutely brilliant, really refreshing to be hearing from the young people. And I just wanted to say that actually the MP, the local MP where Grace Mary to Lion Farm is, has requested a meeting with Big Local Little Voices. So if there's any message that I would like to get across to every big local area about the work or the things that kids are doing, is that MPs are really interested and would love to hear about it. So it's always worth contacting like local councillors, MPs, that sort of thing, about anything that's going on in your area for kids.
I like how you mentioned local MPs. Our like local MPs and even the mayor of Hounslow, they're quite funny when it comes to clean-up days or like building things. Like you would expect them to come in their formal wear and just look and take pictures and leave. But they come in their trainers and they like start doing the work themselves, and it's really nice. And obviously then the community get to speak to them and talk to them about what they're going through, and then obviously that really just like help as well. So yeah, that's what I say.
My question, has anyone made a decision about how they're going to approach climate? I'm not forcing it, but any short ideas?
Cut out plastic. Like, you know, listening to what you guys were saying, and especially yourself, you know, about climate, I think as a big local area, we can kind of start saying to people, okay, you know, cut out, you know, like work with your supermarkets and turn around and go, how can we reduce the plastic, you know, consumption? And especially where I am, we've got a new supermarket open, and just walking around there the other week, there is loads of plastic, and it's like really bugging me, because I'm thinking, you're saying that you want to be, you know, you want to be plastic free by 2023, well, 2030, sorry, but yet you've got all this plastic, what can't be, you know, like reused and can't be, you know, recycled. It's like, if Big Local, you know, can engage the community in that way to get stuff, you know, to reduce the plastic and things, I think that's something what myself, you know, can actually look into when I get back to my local area.
Definitely. Definitely like leading by example, and even showing them that, look, we've reduced our plastic in our Big Local. You are the factor that is making our environment worse at the minute. We're working really hard, but a massive retailer shouldn't have the power to destroy a community.
If it makes you feel better, we always use paper plates and cups and spoons and knives and forks at our events and activities. So we are trying. We are trying.
Definitely. Okay. Anything? Oh, I think no. No, that's it. We've got to go. We've got to go now, apparently. So.